Hey, thank you for joining me for this video. Today I'm talking about a topic that has been popular on both my Instagram and TikTok channels, and this is how to survive on maternity pay. So this can be a big concern for a lot of parents. It could likely lead to a big reduction in income, and you worry about how you are going to survive on that income with another family member in tow. So I've got some great strategies for you to try out that can make living on maternity pay that little bit easier. So welcome to the Looking After Your Pennies YouTube channel. My name is Charlotte Jessup. Now I have 2 kids and I had 2 maternity leaves and I took a full year for both of my kids. And it was a time of, worry. I was like the main income earner into our household and I was a little uncertain about how it would go. Now I was quite fortunate that I was a teacher, so I knew I had a good maternity pay package, and I also knew that I would be able to survive off of that. That said, it was still a worrying time. Like, is it actually going to last? What if a big expense comes up? How will we deal with that? So in this video, I want to address some of these things. So number 1, what might happen on maternity leave? So in this section, I will talk you through what you can expect, what sort of things you might experience when you're on maternity leave, talking purely about the finances here, not like dealing with kids and nappies. Number 2, this is where I give you the actions that you can take. So this is the practical stuff. What can you do to improve your maternity pay situation, and how can you make it stretch that bit further? Number 3 is where you can look for further support. So if you feel like you are struggling and you need more information about this, where can you go to get that information? So the first thing to say on this topic is that everyone's financial experience on maternity leave is going to be different. It will vary from employer to employer. Some have fantastic maternity pay packages, others have something that's good, and some have something that's non-existent. Self-employed people have a different situation again, and this is not something I'm going to go into in a whole load of detail in this video, but it's something I'm definitely working on tackling in a future video. So make sure you hit subscribe so you can get that when it comes out. So what might happen on maternity leave? So like I say, different employers have different options and things going on. Generally, they will have different policies depending on how long you've been there. They might even have different policies depending on your level of seniority within that company. So it's definitely worth having a conversation with HR at the earliest opportunity that you feel comfortable. Obviously, in the early days, you might be keeping it a secret and you don't want too many people to know, but it is definitely a worthwhile conversation to have. Look at your options and see what's available. If you're in a position where you are, you're not pregnant yet, or you haven't got family, but you're thinking about starting one, it can be something that you might want to consider when choosing the company that you're working for. Ask them about their maternity pay policies, or at least if you're already in that company, look at the options. It could be that if you wait another 3 months, you will get a better maternity package. So it's definitely something that needs to be considered. Typically, what you find is that there is a period of an enhanced maternity pay package, and this is the bit that varies between employers. Then there will be another period that is on statutory maternity pay, and then for the last 3 months, you normally get nothing. Obviously, the best employers out there will pay you for the whole lot, but typically you see a shorter period where you get some extra perks based on your employer. Then it goes down to something that's everybody gets, and then you get nothing. Okay, so it's up to you how long that you take for maternity leave. You might just decide that you just want 3 months, or you might decide that you want a full year. So have conversations about this with your partner, your employer, and find something that works for you. Your feelings about this might change, so it's probably best to prepare for the worst case scenario, or the longest period of time that you expect to be off of work and how you're going to deal with that financially. Then if you decide you want to go back earlier, then it's a win-win situation. So let's talk a little bit about statutory maternity pay. So for the first 6 weeks, you should receive 90% of your average weekly earnings. So this is the money that you earned before you went on maternity pay. You will get 90% of that for the first 6 weeks. This is kind of the minimum amount of maternity leave you need. It's 6 weeks. That gives you time to bond and recover with baby. After that, you can go back to work. But during that period of time, you are kind of expected to stay at home. And because of that, you get the majority of your earnings paid to you. After that, you will go on to the kind of like the basic statutory maternity pay. Now, this is either £151.97 per week or 90% of your average weekly earnings, whichever is the lower amount. So if you were maybe working part-time in a lower paying job, then it could be that your weekly, 90% of your weekly earnings is actually lower than the £151.97. So the most you will get is £151.97. Now you will get this anyway. It might be that your employer tops this up in some way, but that's kind of like the minimum that you get on that statutory maternity pay. Now this will be paid up to the 9 months point. For the remaining 13 weeks or 3 months that you can take that takes you up to that year, there is nothing, okay? So there will be no money unless you have some arrangement with your employer for that. Like I say, this is a conversation that you really need to be having with HR. Look at the options so you can get those figures. If you ask, you should be able to get a breakdown of exactly what you would get. This is something that my employer was able to do for me, at least the second time round, and it was super helpful in terms of my budgeting. So what actions can you take? So this is the real practical stuff. And now some of these are going to be a bit more obvious, and some of them are going to be a bit more technical. So there should be a wealth of information here and something that you can take away from this. So the first one, probably the most obvious, is don't overspend on baby. Now, there are so many products out there and they want you to spend money on baby stuff. You will find that you will not use most of it. You can fill your house with baby stuff that cost you a fortune, and ultimately your baby needs clothes, nappies, and you. That's it, okay? Even we didn't even use our cot that we bought for our kids for years. Literally, I think the first time we used it was when we turned it into a bed. They mostly slept in our room in a cot next to our bed until they were about 2, I think. It was so much less stressful for us just to have them there for when they woke up in the night. So even things that you think are necessities might not be necessities. So try and spend as little as possible. If you can, ask around for things like secondhand clothes and toys, because babies grow so quickly, so much secondhand stuff is practically brand new. So you can get some great stuff for a fraction of the cost if you look around at secondhand options. Number 2 is to declutter and sell some of the stuff that you've got now. So whether you have already got a kid, you could get rid of some of their stuff that maybe they is a bit worn out or you don't need anymore. Maybe you've got a boy and now you're having a girl. Maybe could you move on some of the boy clothes or the clothes you don't want anymore? Or if you haven't got any kids, maybe think about getting rid of some of the stuff that you are not going to have a chance to use in the future. So this could mean just looking around your house, decluttering. You're going to have a whole load of new baby stuff come into your life. So it's a good chance now to get rid of some of that old stuff. And if you sell this, you can add money to the baby pot. So put a little bit of extra money into your savings. Use things like Facebook, eBay, and Vinted, all of these different platforms that you have for selling your old stuff, and see how much money you can make from the stuff that's already in your home. So number 3 is to spread out your maternity pay if possible. So not all employers offer this, but it can be a great option to help you budget. So rather than receiving good maternity pay at the start and then it gets a little bit worse, you can spread out the pay for the first 9 months into equal chunks. So this could be really helpful for budgeting. Like I say, not every employer does this, so you will have to ask, but it can be a really helpful option in terms of your planning for your finances. So it's always worth asking that question. If they don't have something like this set up, you could almost try and pioneer this and say, look, this is what I want. Can you think about introducing this as a policy for me and for people in the future? Because I think it will be helpful. You might be the person that actually helps lots of people out in the future. So number 4 is side hustling. So if you're self-employed, I'm afraid this isn't going to be applicable to you. I promise I will do a video about this in the future. But if you're employed, you are allowed to earn self-employed income during maternity leave without affecting your maternity pay. Now, you can also take advantage of the trading allowance. So this is a £1,000 allowance. Then you can earn up to £1,000 and not even have to declare it to HMRC or pay tax on it. So this can be a really good way to supplement any maternity pay income. Now, there are loads of different side hustles out there. I've got lots of different videos about this. So this could be anything from surveys, user testing, or you could start a blog. That's what I did in my second maternity leave. There are lots of options out there, and it won't affect your maternity pay. So you can keep that income coming in and work as a self-employed person and make money from that too. So number 5 is to maximize your maternity pay. So this is a way of making sure that your maternity pay is as high as possible. So like I said, the amount that you receive will be based on your average weekly earnings. So the key is to try and maximize those average weekly earnings. So this is normally calculated on the 8 weeks prior to the 15th week before your due date. Okay, so if you count 15 weeks back from your due date, you want the 8 weeks before that to be your highest earning weeks. So this will be the time where you can put in any like extra hours, okay, try and do a little bit of overtime, and this will increase your average weekly pay and therefore increase your maternity pay. Again, you need to speak to your employer about this and how this is going to work. And it's not going to be an option for everybody, but if you can, try and increase your weekly average earnings by doing a little bit extra so that you get more money when you're on maternity leave. So number 6 is claim the benefits and additional support that is entitled to you. So things like child benefit. I speak to so many people and they are not claiming child benefit. I literally had my kids and claimed for the child benefit like straight away. So you can do that. You need to be getting that money coming in, and it all helps. There are other additional support routes out there. If you speak to your midwife about this, they will be able to give some information on this, or you can look online at the other benefits that might be available to you. It could be that there are also additional grants and stuff that are just available in your area. So sometimes this is available if you have things like, if you have twins or you're in a difficult like financial position, there might be kind of like one-off payments that can help you out. So speak to your midwife and they should be able to give you the information on this. Number 7 is the marriage tax allowance. So this is something that you can do anyway, but it might be more relevant when you're on maternity leave. So if your income drops below the personal tax threshold, so for this year, this is £12,570 for this tax year. So if you find that due to maternity leave, or if in general your income is below that level, you might be able to transfer some of your personal allowance to your partner. Now, your partner then will be paying less tax, so the overall household income will increase. Have a look into this. I will leave the link below in the description with more information, but it could be a good way of boosting your overall household income just by taking advantage of this allowance. So the last one is to utilize your kit days. So these are your keep in touch days. Now you're allowed 10 of these during your maternity leave, and these just allow you to stay in contact with your job and get ready for your return to work without affecting your maternity pay. You will get paid for these. Now, some companies allow you to go in for say half an hour and get paid for the full day. Other companies will just pay you for what you work, but they're a good way to boost your pay, particularly in those final few weeks of your maternity leave. So I used my kit days in the last 3 months. So this is when I wasn't earning anything. I did like a couple a week, or like I think one a week, just to give me some sort of income coming in those last 3 months. Plus it's a good opportunity to get baby used to you being away and for you to feel like you're ready to go back to work as well. You do have to watch out if you take them whilst you're still earning statutory maternity pay, then it's going to be the statutory maternity pay will be discounted off of that kit day. So if you earn £200, then your statutory maternity pay will be paid, but you'll only get the additional difference. So you're still only going to get £200. So that's why they can be good to save for those kind of last 3 months if you're taking the full year where you're not earning anything from statutory maternity pay. So where can you look for further support? Your midwife is a good starting point. They normally have lots of information about this, or they can direct you to somebody in their team or a resource that might be able to help you. They will be able to tell you what other additional support is out there in terms of monetary support, but also what support might be out there in terms of things like childcare and learning opportunities, and they might even be able to direct you to some things like antenatal classes that are provided for free, so you don't have to pay out for the more expensive options. They have lots of things that are available to support new families, so make sure you take advantage of those, and there could be some great money saving opportunities there too. Also, for the kind of nitty-gritties and what you can and can't do check out the government website. It will explain things like maternity pay, things like what you can earn, what you can't earn, and how the different rules work. The next one is obviously your employer. Look into their policies. If you're finding that they're being a bit wishy-washy, you can actually push them on this. They have to give you this information and they have to make it clear. So ask them, and if their policy's not great, hold them to account. See if they can improve this in some way. And then lastly, there is a great website called My Bump Pay. They're all about empowering pregnant people around their pay. Things like making sure you get the best maternity pay, but also making sure that you're still considered for jobs and promotions and you're not missing out on opportunities. I love their website and it's a really great resource that you can check out. Thank you for watching this video today. I hope that you have found it in some way helpful. If you want more from me, then please do check out my social media channels. I'm available on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, so please do come check those out. If you want help with your budget, then I have a free budget spreadsheet. The link is below in the description. Just head there, sign up, and it will get sent straight to your inbox. Super simple, and it will help you manage your money. Thank you so much for watching this video today. Hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.